Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a regular meeting of the panel utility commissioners and staff of the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, held today, Wednesday, March 16th, by remote teleconference. My name is Chairman Marissa Gillette, and I'm joined virtually today by my colleagues, the Vice Chairman, Jack Bukowski, and Commissioner Michael Karen, along with a number of authority staff. We have a regular calendar and a consent calendar in front of us today. We're going to turn first to the regular calendar, on which there is one item, docket number 130220 REO6, the application of Aquarion Water Company of Connecticut to amend its rates. This reopener is focused on a WICA reset settlement request. I'm going to turn to Mr. Jim Boccolina with authority staff to present the decision for the authority's consideration, please. I'm sorry, Mr. Boccolina, I think I muted you.
There we go. Is that better? Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chairman Gillette, Vice Chairman Bukowski, and Commissioner Karen. On November 10th, 2021, Aquarion Water Company jointly filed with the Office of Consumer Counsel a petition requesting that the authority approve a settlement agreement, which would incorporate the revenue requirement for the company's existing WICA surcharge into base distribution rates. Excuse me. As the WICA surcharge has reached its statutory cap of 10%, the company seeks to have its WICA surcharge reset to zero so that it can resume collecting WICA surcharges for going forward eligible investments. As part of the settlement agreement, the company would also agree not to seek a general rate increase that would have new rates in effect no sooner than July 1st, 2023. Without settlement agreement approval, the company states that it would need to file a rate case for rates to be effective in late 2022. In considering whether the terms of this settlement agreement comport with Connecticut General Statute sections 1619, 1619E, and 1622, the authority has held that the record in a contested case must provide substantial evidence upon which to determine whether a proposed settlement agreement is in the public interest. A factor in determining if a settlement protects the public interest is whether it balances the best interests of ratepayers and shareholders. Applying the standard to the petition and settlement agreement, the authority must find that the company met its burden of proving that the near-term rate increase is enabled by this petition in exchange for delaying a potential rate increase from late 2022 until mid-2023 reasonably balances the interests of both ratepayers and shareholders. In arriving at its findings, staff utilized evidence received from written comments, responses to interrogatories, pre-filed testimony, and testimony received in hearings. I will summarize the findings of the decision. The petition and settlement agreement would reset WICA immediately, allowing rates to increase by at least 6.5% and up to the cap of 10% through the WICA surcharge as found through discovery in the proceeding. Aquarion has historically used WICA sparingly, averaging about 1.5% per year. However, the record indicates that Aquarion will use WICA to increase revenues at a much higher rate in the immediate future. These rate increases would not have otherwise been permitted absent approval of the proposed settlement agreement. The company contends that the continuation of WICA investments is jeopardized by maintaining the current statutory 10% cap. However, Aquarion is not precluded from continuing to make essential capital investments in the water system. Rather, the company is simply precluded from taking advantage of a statutory program that allows immediate recovery of those investments. These near-term rate increases available under the settlement agreement provide a tangible benefit for the company and its shareholders. Unlike rate increases resulting from a general rate case, these near-term rate increases would be imposed without a thorough regulatory review and investigation of the company's financial and operating records, and without prudency determinations on the significant monies spent through the WICA program to date. Of note is that the authority last conducted a fully adjudicated rate case proceeding and established Aquarion's annual revenue requirement in docket 130220, which was dated September 24th, 2013. This extended period of time since the authority last approved the company's revenue requirement makes it increasingly difficult for the authority to conclude that the company's rates, augmented by a reset WICA adjustment, continue to comport with the principles for rate amendment approvals articulated in Congen Stat 1619E. The primary ratepayer benefit offered with a settlement agreement is that a general rate case filing by the company in 2022 would result in substantial bill impacts for ratepayers as compared to the proposed combination of interim WICA adjustment increases and a general rate case filing in 2023. During the course of the proceedings, the two scenarios were explored. The findings were that with the settlement agreement scenario, rates would increase in total by 17.37% as of October 1st, 2023. And without the settlement, rates would increase in total by 16.87% over the same time period. As opposed to the settlement agreement claims of substantial bill impacts, evidence gathered in this proceeding indicates that the ultimate benefit derived by ratepayers that is attributable to the stay-out period is relatively small and is eventually eroded. There are smaller increases in the earlier stages of the analysis with the settlement. However, the overall impact to ratepayers is actually higher with the settlement in a relatively shorter time frame, approximately 8 months. And there's a graphical representation in the decision that demonstrates this. Also considered were any detrimental impacts to ratepayers that deferring a rate case may have, and I'll go over those. The petition and settlement agreement allow the company to charge rates that continue to reflect the company's previous authorized ROE of 9.63%. While it is difficult to predict an allowed ROE that would result from a rate proceeding, there is evidence that a 2022 rate case could result in a reduction in the company's ROE. The company's 9.63% ROE includes a 50 basis point ROE bonus related to small water system acquisitions. The record is inadequate to determine if the company would qualify for a ROE bonus during its next rate case. However, the authority recently declined to provide an ROE bonus in a recent rate case. The company's actual long-term debt costs have decreased markedly since the 2013 rate case, resulting in interest expense savings that would not be realized by customers under the settlement agreement. Therefore, the settlement agreement allows the company to retain approximately $1.2 million annually in interest expense savings that would otherwise be incorporated into a new rate structure under a full rate proceeding. The settlement agreement will continue to defer ratepayer recovery of certain regulatory liabilities, potentially to the detriment of ratepayers. Specifically, the authority previously allowed the company to retain tax savings arising from the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act as a regulatory liability to be returned to customers at the next rate case. Consequently, the deferral will further delay ratepayers from receiving the benefit of millions of dollars of tax savings. The company indicated that other cost drivers may offset this liability. However, the absence of a fully adjudicated proceeding prevents the authority from assessing the full impact of continued deferral. In conclusion, the authority staff finds that there is insufficient evidence to demonstrate that the petition and proposed settlement agreement are in the public interest, and if approved, would result in rates that are just and reasonable. The near-term rate increases allowed under the WICA reset provide a tangible benefit to the company and its shareholders. However, the negotiated stay-out period offers limited benefits and material risks to ratepayers. Absent a reasonable balancing of shareholder and ratepayer interests, the authority is unable to find the petition and proposed settlement agreement are in the public interest. Consequently, the authority staff declines to approve the petition or adopt the terms of the settlement agreement, and staff recommends this to the panel for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vacalina. I will seek a motion to adopt the decision, please.
Madam Chairman, I move adoption of docket 130220 REO 6.
Thank you, and I will second. With that, the decision has been regularly moved and seconded, so I will seek any questions or comments at this time. I will turn first to the Vice Chairman, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This are unique times that we continue to live in, fueled by COVID, inflation, gas and oil prices, the war in Ukraine, our pocketbook issues that are impacting Aquarian customers as well as other people in the state of Connecticut. Although the rates will increase somewhat, this settlement agreement gives Aquarian ratepayers time to catch their breath before going through a full rate case, The cost of a rate case alone is approximately $800,000, which will be incorporated into base rates. The authority has precedent for approving settlements such as these with other regulated companies in the past, calling the settlement, quote, favorable to the ratepayers and, quote, just and reasonable. This settlement agreement before us today is no exception. We will, in the very near future, and it's not like they're going to be out of here for years, we will look at the company in its entirety, and the prudency of WICA costs at that time will be addressed in a future rate case. Two other items I'd like to talk about is the fact that we seem to be somewhat fixated on the company's ROE. Their ROE is, and we're trying to predict the future. Today, driving to work, they're going to have an interest rate in Washington. Their ROE is fixed at 9.63%, but the last report we got, the quarterly report, they're earning 7.76%. So the average, the draft the decision is advocating for a full rate case, which down the line I certainly support. But as Mr. Bacalina said, there's going to be a small benefit right now for ratepayers and people. These are hard times for the people, and I think it's definitely in the best interest that we approve the settlement. Now, one final thing I have to say, and we talk about the adder to ROE, and Mr. Bacalina said in the previous decision that we did for Connecticut Water, we didn't add anything onto the ROE in terms of basis points. But I have to say, when we did in 2013, it was at a time when we had marginal, and Mr. Bacalina knows this, in Southwest Connecticut, we had marginal systems that were terrible, that we had 4 or 5 systems that needed work and needed work badly. And Aquarium Water Company at that point stepped up to the plate, and they really helped the ratepayers, they helped the customers, and they helped us as an authority. So the company does have a good track record in terms of WICA and WICA improvements. And with that, I am going to vote against the decision today. And I thank you respectfully.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Commissioner Karen, any remarks?
Yes, Madam Chairman, thank you very much. And thank you for the Vice Chairman for all his work and robust discussions here at the authority. Madam Chairman, I'd like to thank the company, Aquarian, and the Office of Consumer Counsel for their efforts in working on developing a settlement for us to consider and trying to consider the interests of the ratepayers. And of course, Connecticut statute encourages settlements where possible, when in the best interest of ratepayers. However, it does not require. And in this commissioner's opinion, I think the decision got it right. The long-term, it's been almost 10 years since the company has come in for a rate case. In fact, there's the first rate case that I sat on here at the authority. It's been almost 10 years. It's time the company come in. And while no one likes increased rates, we all know we get what we pay for. And it's been long enough. And a 6 to 8 or 9 month stay out is going to provide a rate shock either now or later. And that is a marginal benefit at best. I think the analysis from our authority colleagues on this settlement has been thorough. And in this commissioner's opinion, the case has not been paid that this is ultimately in the very best interest of the ratepayers, absent a actual rate case. It's been a while since they've been in here. I look forward to seeing them again. As Vice Chairman has said, this is a good company, and I have no reason to think that they can't make their case in a rate case proceeding. And consequently, Madam Chairman, I plan on supporting the decision.
Madam Chairman, if I may, for a second time.
Mr. Vice Chairman?
I just wanted to, and I was remiss in not thanking our staff at PURA for really a lot of time and effort went into this decision. I read it several times, and also commend the company and the Office of Consumer Counsel for their briefs. Everybody did a great job, and we just simply have a little difference of opinion here this morning. But with that, I'll let you call for the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman and Commissioner Karen. I will be supporting the decision. I think the decision speaks for itself, so I do not have any further remarks at this time. And I will call for the vote, please.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
No.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The decision is adopted. That is the only item on our regular calendar this morning. So we're going to move to the consent calendar. I want to thank Mr. Bacalina and staff for their presentation. We're going to move into the consent calendar now, which has 8 items on today's consent calendar. So I would seek a motion to adopt the consent calendar in full, please.
Madam Chairman, I will move adoption of items 1 through 8 on today's consent calendar.
A second, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been regularly moved and seconded. Mr. Bumpin, please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been adopted. That is the conclusion of today's regular meeting agenda. I do want to flag to folks that next week's regular meeting, while it will be held by teleconference, will be a special meeting at a different time. While we normally meet at 10 a.m., we will be meeting at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, March 23rd. So we'll see everyone back here at 9 a.m. on March 23rd for the next regular meeting. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.